Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here. As mentioned, my name is Isaac Jr. Olowolafe. Today, I have the privilege and honor to talk to you about a dream that I had over a decade ago. As a little kid, I had a dream, an image and a thought, a sensation in my mind, and that dream has translated into businesses and organizations across the city and across the globe. But before I talk about my dream, by raise of hand, how many people has ever had a dream? How many people has ever had an idea or a thought? So to lay the foundation of what I'm talking about, I'll define a dream. I've already said the definition. A dream in the Western dictionary is defined as an image or a thought or a sensation that occurs in the mind while you sleep. So what that means is that if you don't have an image and if you don't have a thought, you can't complain if you didn't achieve that dream. If you have a dream that you're trying to achieve in your life for yourself or your family, all that's missing is that thought. All that's missing is that image in your head. And from that image in your head, you translate it into steps. Steps that would translate it into actions. Actions that would translate it into turning that dream into a reality. I'll give you a little bit of a background of myself. I didn't have a PowerPoint, and I just got this blazer, so I'm not breakdancing. You're just going to hear me speaking. So I was born in '83 in Nigeria, the eldest out of 4 siblings. And my parents, who were big dreamers, and that's where I probably got it from, they had a dream back home in Nigeria. They said, what if we could go to Canada and have a better life? What if we could go to Canada and give more opportunities for our children, better education, better lifestyle, better health care? So at age 4, we moved to Canada. When we moved to Canada, we stayed at Jane and Finch for a couple of years, and throughout elementary, we were at Jane and Finch and other parts of Toronto. And that's where I learned my first lesson. So as I'm talking, I'm going to talk about the dreams and the transaction of the dreams and how the dream got bigger and bigger and the lessons that I learned from that dream. The first lesson I learned is that depending on the environment you're in will determine the thoughts and image that you have in your mind. Growing up in elementary school in Toronto, in Jane and Finch, and Margrove and Albion, the thoughts and images I had is whether I was going to sell weed on the street or whether I was going to party and chase as many girls as possible. Those were the thoughts and images, or whether I was going to run track and hopefully that takes me out of the hood, or shoot a basketball. Why? Because those were the thoughts and images and dreams that my teachers also told me because of the stereotype at that time. But once again, my parents had a bigger dream for us. They said, what if we could move our children from an environment that's not safe for them into another environment that is good for them? So going into grade 9, they moved us to Woodbridge. We went from Toronto to Woodbridge. So I'm grade 9, 16 years old. It was me and my brothers and sisters, the only black students at Holy Cross Academy. And it was a different environment. But because of that different environment, it changed my thoughts and my images, which changed the dreams that I had. Because when I moved to Woodbridge, I started to see individuals driving nice cars. I started to see individuals with nice homes, individuals with businesses, individuals building generational wealth. I didn't see that where I was in Jane and Finch and Margrove and Albion. So right there at 16 and 17, I told myself that by the time I'm 30, I envision myself driving around in that Benz. I envision myself owning multiple properties. I envision myself owning a business. I envision myself building generational wealth for myself and my community. It was because of that environment switch. Now, lesson number 2. Right off the bat, because of the stereotype happening during that time, individuals said, oh, nice image, nice thought, nice dream. That's not happening. Look at where you're coming from. How much money does your family have? That's not happening. So lesson number 2, no matter how small or big your dream is, don't let anybody stop you from happening. Don't let anybody stop you from pushing towards it. Because I said, you know what? That's fine. That's encouragement for me. So when I got into University of Toronto my first year, I started living my dream. I started owning my first and second property. And I launched the first company, Dreammaker Realty. So now at age 21, 22, I said, okay, I have the properties, I have the company started, but for it to go to another level, I need funding. So as a 21, 22-year-old, I did what most people would do. I ran to mommy and daddy. I said, could you guys give me some money to fund this? They said, son, we've already paid for your tuition at U of T. So all you have to do is go there, get your 4.0, and get your job, and we will love you. I went out that day out of the room, and I was a little bit discouraged. I'm like, these are my parents who are big dreamers. Why are they telling me to just settle for a 4.0 at economics, as much as I loved that? But I'm like, I can't just settle for that. So I did what anybody else would do, and that's lesson number 3. Any dream that you have that's big, that's going to change anybody, change your life, and change the community, you need sacrifice. So at age 21, 22, I sacrificed something. I sacrificed my sleep, and Mike knows what I'm talking about, because I was working midnight shift at UPS from 12 midnight to 4, 5 o'clock in the morning, lifting boxes, throwing it on to get $12 an hour and tuition reimbursement, and get ready for school at 9 o'clock in the morning. Not because I had to pay tuition, but because I had a dream I had to fund. So by age 22, 23, now I had more properties. Now individuals were noticing me. And that dream kept on getting bigger and bigger. But I told myself I need to add another layer to that dream. Growing up in Woodbridge and seeing how generational wealth has helped the community of Italians, I said, how can we incorporate that into the black community? That's not really incorporated right now. So I said, we're going to add building wealth into our company. It was just an investment company. Now, by 24, that's when it was a downtime for me. Because being 24, being in an industry that's mostly dominated by the Italians, by the Jewish, by the Chinese, I was a young little kid trying to get into this industry. Nobody wanted to show me the ropes, so I had to work even harder. Nobody wanted to try me because I was too young. And my friends, they believed it, but not everyone believed it. So I was on my own. But I put in sweat equity, I put in capital, and by 25, I did what I thought I'll do at 30. I launched Dreammaker Realty as a real estate brokerage firm and was the youngest in the GTA to have a brokerage firm. It was just me and my dad, but I was happy. I said, okay, the dream is here, but we got to keep on dreaming. By 26, I realized something growing up in the church. Whatever you do, you always got to leave tithes and offering. So I said, whatever I build, how much money I make, I got to give back to the community. And not just the black community, but the surrounding community. Being happy with what I learned at University of Toronto, I went back to them and I said, I want to start a scholarship. So we started a scholarship, Dreammaker Realty /Family, Olowolafe Family Scholarship Award. By starting that scholarship, it made me the youngest to ever start a scholarship at the University of Toronto. We added another layer to the company, and the dream that I had a decade ago kept on getting bigger and bigger. By adding that scholarship and making a pact that we will give 9 to 10 scholarships in other organizations and communities every year, it changed the business dynamics. Because automatically, U of T put our story that would normally cost $50,000 to go into Alumni Magazine and put it in there for free and put it all around the world. So we were getting calls from Australia, getting calls from the UK, getting calls from New York, because they were encouraged by the story. Why? Not because we sell good real estate, which we do, but because we had a dream, because we were giving back. By age 27, I started to realize the dream even more, because now I was married to my university sweetheart. Now I had a baby. I wish I was able to put her up, right? 20 months-year-old daughter named Kayla. So now I was experiencing generational wealth from the family, not just teaching about it, but knowing that now I have a role to build generational wealth and teach that to my daughter. Now at 28, almost a decade after I had that first image and first thought, now there's 4 companies. Now there's a non-for-profit called Build Our Wealth. Now the 4 companies, Dreammaker Realty, Dreammaker Management, Dreammaker Developments, and Dream Fund Holdings. It's all a dream about a brand around a dream that I had, a thought that I had to change the lives of not only myself, but our family. At 28, we decided that the non-for-profit that we have is going to change the lives of not 100,000 people that we first started, but 1 million people in marginalized communities. So we're working with the Toronto Community Housing. We're working with organizations. We're looking for 100 organizations, not only within GTA, but around the world, to change how individuals that don't have access to real estate, don't have access to investments, gain access to it through our companies. And I thank God we've been able to do that, and we'll keep on doing that. So turning 29 in a month, that's a new layer that we're adding to it. So ladies and gentlemen, I stand here today not as an individual that's an entrepreneur, not as an individual that does a lot of real estate, not an individual that has $500 million worth of investments, but an individual that had a thought, an individual that had an image. And that thought, that image was so large that regardless of what anybody told me 10 years ago, is a business that we're doing with politicians, business leaders, doctors, lawyers, locally and internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope each and every one of you walk out of here with a thought, with an image. Dream big and let God do the rest. Thank you very much.